What is up, guys? It's me, A.T.D.F leader, and today we are on part 2 of making low poly weapons. This guy is focusing around making a carbine. This guide should work for pretty much any weapon. In the first guide, we learned how to trace and how to extrude to make a basic shape of their weapon. And in this episode, we're going to learn how to detail it a little bit. I accidentally already began detailing some of the gun. I forgot to record, so we don't. Sorry about that, but we should still be able to cover enough of the basics to suit your needs. So I'm gonna take a quick sip of my drink here, and then we're gonna begin. Okay, so we are basically making the Ruger carbine, and the first thing I'd recommend is having a picture open on the side. This just basically makes it easier for you to see what you're doing, see what the real model looks like, and compare and contrast while you're working. So, as you can see here, we began to do some work. We have a little bit of problems. I'll teach you how to get rid of those. Or we could actually probably just keep that in because it's not going to really do anything. But we'll go through the rest of the guide here and begin making a weapon. So make sure you have your main body for your gun selected in edit mode. And then we're going to get rid of the magazine weld here by going to the cube and disappearing it. You should have those named. I'm not naming them. I don't care. And then we're going to go up to the cylinder here and we're going to disappear that too. As you can see here, if another cube is covering a portion of it, you don't have to worry about doing anything there. So as for like up here, I didn't bevel this block part right here because this is going to be covered in game and no one's going to notice that. It's more vertices and more edges. You don't want a lot of that stuff, so it's not worth my time to get rid of that. But down here, depending on your reload animation, you are going to want a magazine weld. So we're going to select these boxes, holding shift and using the right key to select, or the right mouse click to select. You're going to want to press E to extrude. Oh, what is going on? That was weird. E allows you to extrude. You can basically pull blocks in, pull them out, do whatever you want. What I like to do is extrude, then right click, deselect them, and have them snap back. And then what you can do is hold down Control. You don't actually have to hold down Control. I'd recommend it though. And we're gonna drag in using the scale manipulator to make the magazine weld. So as you can see here, boom. Now it's perfectly aligned because I'm using this top one to fix the angle, which is a little trick. Not once again, that's not 100% proper, but it works. And you don't have to mess with numbers. You don't have to get confused and spend a lot of time figuring that out. Once you do that, we're going to press the extrude button again, and we're going to drag up just a little bit. It doesn't matter how far you drag up, you're not going to see in there. And now we have our magazine mode for our carbine. So now we want to add some of these beveled edges. As you can see here, we have a bevel edge here, a bevel edge here, a bevel edge here, and we don't have any here. So what we can do is go to Edge Select. You're going to want to select the edges you want to bevel, and then you're going to want to press Control B to bevel the edge. Ta-da! Now our model is coming together pretty good. But you realize that the back of the gun and the front of the gun are both the same color, so there's no there's no difference between the bolt and the stock. Also, you've realized that this is a pretty fat back stock, and you'd like to make that a little bit skinnier. What we can do is go click this button. This is it's that. Basically, it makes it so you can see all the lines on the other side. And you can press B to do box select, and you can select the series of lines, like I'm doing here. We are going to select all of these, and then we're going to drag in by holding Control and dragging in just a little bit. I'm going to drag in just one. Now I'm going to select the rest of this back stock, and I'm going to drag in two. And now I'll unselect that, go into this, and we're going to see how it looks. Looks pretty good. In real life, I've actually shot in the Ruger PC carbine. This part sort of looks like this. It's a little bit drastic, so what we're going to do is we're going to select these lines, hold Control, we're going to drag in just one. It has a little bit of a bulge, and it actually has a plastic cover that goes around it. I'm not going to worry about that in this episode. We're not going to make an exact clone of the gun. We're going to make something that looks similar enough to in-game and fits art style of the game. Now, the next thing we can realize is this bolt carrier is way out from where the trigger guard is in the game, or on the model. And normally that would actually be very problematic. This is actually would result in the model being not usable. But I'm a smart boy, so what we're going to do is we're going to select all those blocks. We're going to deselect these parts here. And then we're going to make sure everything's selected. So you can see here we didn't select these parts. And we're going to drag... Nope, that's not correct. We are going to attempt to drag that back to about there. Now, these lines are all messed up and goofed, and that's a no-no too. I don't care. We're not going to be using too much of that space, and if we need to, we can just drag and rearrange, and it's not that big of a deal for me. So I'm going to take a quick sip of my drink here. Talking is making me old dry. All right. We have all that done. Now we're going to go on to colors. So down here in the bottom right hand, we're going to go to material, which is the big circle, and we're going to add 2 materials, and you're going to want to add new and then add new, and make sure you put them in the right orientation. You don't have to rename these, but you might want to. Same with the cubes up here. So we're gonna pick 2 different colors. You want them to be somewhat, once you get more experience, you can do whatever you want. But I like to have 2 separate dedicated colors so I know what I am doing and I don't get distracted. So we're going to have orange be the base. And this has already been assigned, but you'd press A and assign it to assign the color, as you can see here. See? Alright, but now we want to have the bolt guard be a somewhat different color. And this part doesn't matter. When you go into Unity, you'll be able to change the color to wherever you're content with and do whatever. When you in Blender, these colors don't end up in Unity, at least in the Ravenfield side. So we're gonna go here, select that, assign, and boom, boom, boom. Now we have 2 separate colors for the model. And then if we go into 3D view, we can see that there's 2 separate colors. Now this isn't the colors we're going to keep in game, but it does keep what we're trying to do here separate and not complicated. Now, in all honesty, this is probably more than adequate for whatever mod you're going to be creating for Ravenfield Front Turn. This is plenty a decent amount of detail. You don't really need to add much more than this if you're happy with it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to keep going. We're going to add a couple more things because I don't like to give up that easily. So we're going to press Control R, and that allows you to put lines and stuff in the block. So we're going to go put some lines up here, and then I'm going to go ahead and deselect these 3 lines, and then I'm going to go ahead and drag, and that'll create a little bit of a bump out there. And we're going to actually do the same thing right here if it wants. It's not letting me do it. Yeah, there you go. Alright, and we're going to do the same thing here. Actually, 1 minute. Let me get rid of this stupid thing there. I don't like too much. So I'm going to go and select these 8 lines here. Now, make sure you have them selected correctly because that's really annoying when you don't. And then you're going to want to drag it out. It just gives it a little bit of dimension, a little bit of texture. This backstock desperately needs some texture. We're going to go to face select, and we're going to select these vertices. And we're going to select 2 of them. Now, when I'm doing weapon mods, one thing that I tend to just sort of ignore is the backstock, because in all honesty, you don't really see that in game, in a first-person shooter game. If you're doing a third-person shooter game or an option that has third-person, you're going to want to put a little bit of detail and stuff into it, but you don't really notice this when you're in a game. This is not a priority item. You see it maybe on another character, and you're not really paying attention, so it's not that big of a deal. But so I'm not going to worry about adding any details back there because you don't see it and it doesn't matter. Along with the trigger guard. Well, it depends on the game. This game, the Ravenfield, your guy's hand is a big block. So you don't need to worry about adding a trigger because it's just going to glitch through. It makes the model look like junk. So I'm not going to worry about that. Some people were able to pull it off. I know that I just tend to avoid it. So we're going to use the vertex select, and we're going to drag out that, just add some dimension, and as you can see here, our model is coming together really well. It looks very good, a lot of detail, and it's looking pretty good actually, to be honest with you. So we're going to go ahead and work on the sights. So first thing, we're going to add your cylinder back here. So we have our barrel of our gun. And as you can see, that looks very, very good. That's actually pretty impressive, to be honest with you. I'm actually going to close this because I don't need it anymore for as of right now, because we're not going to focus on adding all the dots and nibbles stuff. So we're going to go up here to this camera. You're going to want to go up to location and make this 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. As you can see, the camera is now face down. You're going to go -90 and basically just angle it to match your requirements here. Just give me 1 second to figure out what I need to do here. There you go. So now we have the camera lined up correctly. We're going to drag the camera back to about there-ish, and then we're going to go up, look in the camera, and now we're aiming down sights. We're going to need that to basically fine point what we're doing. You're going to go add object, add a cube. People tend to use whatever floats their goat. I tend to find cube to be the easiest to align and the easiest to develop a simple sight out of. Now you can do holographic sights. I tend just to like iron sights. Most of the time when I'm firing a gun in real life, I'm using iron sights. I do have an EOTech sight, which is a lot of fun, to be honest with you, but iron sights is pretty traditional, and it's just easier. Now I'll float in how to do all that stuff later. This is just a basic guide to make a basic weapon that doesn't look like junk. So we are going to go ahead. We already added the object into the model by zeroing out, and if we go into here, as we can see, it's pretty much aligned pretty good here. Oh, actually, we should be getting rid of this image before I forget. On the right side of the screen, you're going to go all the way down to background image, and you're going to uncheck that if you still have that in there. So, all right. Anyway, we have our sight plate in here. We're going to go ahead and do some rotation, manipulation. We're going to do some rotation, translation, and scaling to make the sight look how we want it. So let me just quickly go here, Control R to select the middle. That way I can do a little bit of cool edge editing. Now this is nowhere near how the sight looks in real life, but for just simplicity's sake, we're going to just do it this way. You're going to want to use this thing, pull it in, extrude. I want to make the edges look somewhat nice. Actually, that's... Ooh, 1 minute. Where's my image? Oh, yeah. I forgot this thing has the sights up in the front. I was like, no, that doesn't look right. Alright. So we're going to actually drag the sights up here where they're supposed to be. I forgot, because that has the rail on it. And then you're just going to go here, select all this stuff. This actually, you'd want a smaller sight to be more accurate, but once again, we're not putting too much effort into this. Just keep selecting and extruding like I am doing on the screen with whatever content you're making, if you're making a different content or mod. And as you can see there, we have a very basic and aligned sight. We're going to actually raise the camera just a little bit here. So let me hop out of here. Quickly drag this up a little bit. Cool. Alright, now we're going to select the barrel. Go to edit. Go all the way down here to the bottom. And you have two ways of doing this. One, you can do the same thing where you can drag an object and pull it down. Or what I like to do actually is just select two of the objects on the gun's nose and then just pull it out, because that tends to work pretty good, and you know, it's good enough. So there, now we have a simple sight on the gun. It's a little bit long though. Actually, that's a really long nose. Let me try that again here. It's a really long nose. It's a really long sight. Alright, and as you can see, that's aligned. Now you're probably sitting there going, no it's not. As you can see, the camera's a little bit off. This doesn't matter. We're gonna go into, as you can see now, it's aligned. So that's done there. Cool, cool, cool. You're gonna want to go here, and you're gonna want to create a new material, just so that's all separate. And you're gonna want to make this that same material. All right. Now we have all of the mod basically done with the exception of the magazine, and I tend to do the magazine. Oh, actually, 1 minute. Let me go to edit and actually do this thing correctly. I tend to do the magazine when I'm in the editor for Ravenfield, because it doesn't matter to me too much. So that's all done there. So we have our mag, body of the gun, and the top barrel part. We'll go into adding more detail and making the gun look fancier, but I like to do that once I'm in the editor because sometimes you're not able to do what you want to do with it. But before we do that, we need to make all this into one simple model. So what I'm going to do is hold Shift, and I'm going to select all this model stuff here, and then I'm going to press Control J. That will join it together as one entire model. Oh, wait a second. 1 second. We actually don't want the clip at that. So Control J, all of that without the clip. What? Oh, 1 second. I have to redo all of it. Control J. You don't want the magazine actually being a part of this model. But now this is all one big asset. It's all one big model. You have a basic looking gun. You're still actually able to go into the editor and drag, like if you're not happy with these sights, you can just drag this part off if you don't want it. It's not attached. I didn't grab all of it there, but it's actually not attached to the model. So that is how you make a simple low poly gun. I can go more into, like, you can go and use. Let me go into edit mode here quickly. You can go into add, and you can add like not a circle. Why did I grab like the junkiest thing? We're gonna grab a cube. You can go into here, grab a cube, and like manipulate it and put it into here. And there's ways to do that. We'll fold more into that in the animation Unity editor part. But you can just drag it in there and call it good and add details. You can use there's a lot of videos online for this stuff too, so feel free to look around. But you can use like the Boolean editor, build, edge split, bevel, whatever floats your code to make the model look good. Actually, while we're here, I'm going to quickly add the barrel for the gun. That's a really big barrel. That's about right. And I'll just drag it back to there. So. But that's basically the simple outline of a 3D model. We'll float into a bunch of the cool stuff, but I wanna get the next video up where we transfer it over before we get too complex and begin to do a bunch of stuff. So thanks for watching. This is part 2. Please go to the Discord if you have any questions. I don't care if you subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna be doing live streams of me just creating content. And other than that, thanks for watching. Bye.